From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London, where South Africa's men are now touring for a white ball series, which is the last international cricket of the English summer. They're back in the country as World Test champions, of course, so good memories for them having won that title at Lord's back in June.
Jim Maxwell warming up slowly as we get into spring here in Sydney. Looking forward to watching a bit of live cricket somewhere around town in a week or two as Australia go into a camp this week to look after the questions from the media. So it's all starting to get a focus towards the Ashes.
Well, despite the monsoon, there's a fair amount of cricket going on in India. I'm Charu Sharma for Akashvani, deep south in Thiruvananthapuram, where I'm doing the Kerala Cricket League, which is, of course, its final weekend. The biggest star, Sanju Samson, unfortunately had to leave his team because of India duty, but he has ensured that the Kochi Blue Tigers are leading the table.
I'm always amazed at how much cricket manages to get played in India during the monsoon. It's commendable. One bit of rain here and we're off the field. Now, coming up, we will continue our build-up to the Women's World Cup, which starts in India and Sri Lanka at the end of this month. We'll be dropping in on the South Africa camp to speak to one of their rising stars. But first, the fifth edition of the 100 reached its climax, with the Northern Superchargers women winning their very first title and Oval Invincibles men claiming a third in a row. And it could also be the last edition of the tournament as we know it in its current format. Now, the Invincibles flew in Australian leg spinner Adam Zampa for just one day to play in the final, which shows the importance they put on winning. But imagine a 34,000-kilometre round trip just to bowl 20 balls. He did take a wicket, one for 21, and crucially, of course, he came away with the winner's medal. But Charu, if we put the 100-ball format aside for the moment and just talk about Oval Invincibles' achievements, just how impressive for any franchise team to win 3 in a row?
Well, they've taken their team name very literally, haven't they? Invincible. But it's really quite ridiculous. I mean, to think that in a franchise sport like this, one team can win so consistently, because one of the many situations with franchise cricket is that they are very equally divided between teams, players that is. And for any one team to win so consistently, it defies logic. And it's not just the personnel, of course, because they're equally distributed, but some X factor about a team. Even in India in the IPL, we struggle to give reason to why 2 or 3 teams have won so much and the others haven't.
Yeah, and one of the things they have managed to do very well is to keep the core of their team together, and that's been a big part of their success, and they've certainly enjoyed it, because there is a sense that things might change in future and a draft might give way to an auction. But Jim, on Adam Zampa, well, he said the journey was worth it because it's his favourite competition. But do you think it's a good move for any player to travel that far for the sake of bowling 20 balls?
I think you and I would go, and Charu too. Think of the frequent flyer points and probably with 1A in the plane. I mean,
the prize
they'd be
money.
looking after him. Yeah, they'd be looking after him.
I'll tell you one thing, though. He did get a little bit of stick on social media from a sustainability point of view. And Charu is a little bit mad when you think of it from that sense. And pertinent to flag, because the Oval do actually have a pledge to be net zero by 2030. And in 2020, I mean, from Zampa's point of view, he went vegan and said he did it because he cares about the environment. So there was a few, people pointing out on social media that, hang on one hand you care about the environment, the next thing you're jumping on a plane just for one match. It doesn't quite add up in that sense, does it?
I suppose you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's one thing to be carbon zero or whatever else the Oval Invincibles want to be. But, the pressure of winning can do strange things. There's idealism on one hand, and why not aim for something, shoot for something which is carbon zero or even negative. But when it comes down to winning, you want to just have every possible advantage.
Yeah, and he was a familiar face in the previous, editions of the 100 and helping them to success there. So they wanted him parts of their third success, and they did manage it. On the women's front, the Superchargers won, thanks, Jim, I've got to say, to a massive contribution from the Aussies in their side.
Yeah.
Nicola Carey, Phoebe Litchfield and Annabelle Sutherland. I mean, they weren't even the biggest Aussie names in the tournament when you consider, like, Meg Lanning was playing, Alana King, but Does it just underline, again, the amount of talent in Australia? Because I'm sure England coach Charlotte Edwards would have rather seen England players dominating in a final.
Well, yes, I think we might be moving on over the next year or two to realising that the Australian women's team, they're the Invincibles, maybe not the men's team, because the women have got so much depth. So I'm all for them being called the Invincibles if they keep on winning. They're probably already the Invincibles before they start their next tournament, but it just shows, as you suggest, the amount of depth there is in Australian women's cricket.
We are, though, expecting changes to the 100 from 2026, and it would be odd if there wasn't, given all the investment that has come in now from new owners who have all bought stakes of varying degrees. Charu, what very immediate changes do you think there will be?
Well, Alison, is there a suggestion that the 100 is suffering a bit? Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you go back to some of the primary reasons why the 100 was created in the first place, is because it was felt that you needed to attract a new generation of English supporters, the younger people. And it's 100 balls, so very understandable, kind of decimal and all that sort of thing, metric. So I really don't see any major reason for change. And let's not forget, of course, there's some talk about the fact that they could also slip into a regular T20 format to fit in with the rest. But the 100 is a USP, and they probably need to keep it.
Jim, I mean, we know that no franchise tournament can compete with the IPL. But do you think that the new owners would keep a 100-ball format because it kind of is particularly different?
I won't be watching any of it, I have to tell you. I watch Test cricket, I love Test cricket, and I deplore what's going on in the international game. But money will always answer the call. And these blokes who've moved in, the big corporates, wherever they are, they're going to move in on Australia and they're going to buy the teams. I might come to Europe in January when the nonsense starts and get onto the ski slopes or something.
From the BBC World Service, this is Stumped on Akashvani.
Well, later this month, the Women's ODI World Cup gets underway in India and Sri Lanka, with 8 teams all competing for the trophy. Now, South Africa have never won the 50-over World Cup, but they did feature in the semi-finals of the last 2 editions and made the final of the last 2 T20 World Cups. They've named their squad, although no place for former captain Dane Van Niekerk, who recently reversed her international retirement. But there are a handful of players who'll be going to a 50-over World Cup for the very first time. And one of those is all-rounder and rising star Annerie Dercksen, who is with us on Stumped. Annerie, welcome to the programme and congratulations on making the squad. Now, before we get to the South Africa team, can you just tell us a little bit more about you and how you got into the game? Because you grew up in a more rural setting in South Africa, didn't you?
Yes. I grew up on a farm far away from everything. So I think my brother was basically my only friend. I played netball when I was little and he played rugby. So he didn't enjoy netball too much and I didn't enjoy him hurting me in rugby. So, I think we sort of found a middle ground in cricket. But I never obviously expected to do it professionally. And I think now if I look back, I think the first time I really noticed women cricket was the 2017 ODI World Cup in England. So to now be going to the ODI World Cup is a real honour and sort of full circle to me.
Yeah. What was your exposure to cricket then? How did you sort of get that visibility on it when you were flung out on the farm?
Like I said, I just sort of played with my brother. He played for a little school like in our town. I think they had 2 little players. So the coach just sort of asked me if I could possibly play for them. I sort of just did it for the fun. And then, like I said, sort of saw the 2017 World Cup on TV and I was like, oh, there's women's cricket in the world. So that's probably when I started taking it seriously.
Yeah, and you're often described, well, we said it then, a rising star in this South African team, and you were the ICC's Emerging Cricketer of the Year 2024. Do you feel like you are on the rise?
No, I wouldn't say so. It's quite funny. Like, I didn't even know that it existed. But I think cricket's a funny game and you can be humbled very quickly. I think for me it's important to be grateful for every opportunity that I get, and yeah, just keep on putting in the hard yards and the hard work. And obviously very experienced, a lot of experienced players and people who are willing to share their knowledge with me around me. So yeah, I'm just grateful for every opportunity that I get at the moment.
Annerie, Jim Maxwell here in Sydney. Welcome to the world of cricket. You sound very energised, fresh and ready to go. But I noticed you started your cricket as a spin bowler, now you're a seam bowler. What brought to that transition?
Sure. Yeah, I was a spinner until about, I think, 4 years ago. I just messed around one day in the nets and sort of was bowling a bit of seam to one of the batters. And I think one of the coaches and or analysts at the Proteas currently saw me bowl a bit of seam, and they're like, you cannot be a spinner, you need to be a seamer. And I think the transition sort of started there. When we're playing in sort of 45-degree heat in the subcontinent, I do regret that decision a little bit, but yeah, no, it's really nice running in and bowling a couple of bounces. Really been working hard at my bowling over the last couple of months, so hopefully I can contribute in some positive ways.
I noticed that your hero worship kind of began in 2017 when you saw the much-loved Marizanne Cap doing her best for South Africa against England in a ODI semi-final. So if she is the heroine, as it were, what's it like to be playing alongside her now?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Like, I think sort of a lot's been made of myself and Marizanne. Yeah, I think it's just because we sort of do the same things, like seeming all-rounder. But no, I think she's in a class above. The way she prepares and just how competitive she is. I'm very grateful. She's sort of taken me under her wing and given me a lot of advice, even on the field and off the field. And I really enjoy conversations with her. I feel that she has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. And yeah, super grateful that she's willing to share that with me. Yeah, she's definitely been a major part in my growth over the last couple of years.
Annerie, hi, this is Charu Sharma. I'm in Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram. Wonderful to be speaking to you. Now, by the way, you can emulate a lot of the top cricketers of the world by bowling both seam and spin when the occasion requires. So watch out for that. Garfield Sharma.
I've been trying to get the bowling coach to allow me to do it, but he doesn't want to. So
spoil sport.
That's South Africa's loss, let me tell you. All right, you've been a part of the training camp for the World Cup now, and I've got to ask you, you mentioned it's a full circle for you. No, new circles is about to start. Is there a winning feeling in the squad? We can do it.
Yeah, I think so. I've mentioned a couple of times that sort of we obviously lost the final last year and the year before. So I think last year we sort of sat down the day after, and it really hurt us as a squad and as a management, and everyone was sort of hurting. And we said, listen, guys, the only thing we can do now is look to the future and sort of start planning already then and there how we're going to try and win the next one. Yeah, cricket's obviously a funny game and it can go either way, but I think we've had a lot of camps and a lot of good preparation. So yeah, the squad is buzzing, and yeah, I think we're in a good spot, and hopefully we can bring one home.
Well, we need a new champion. If not India, then South Africa. All right. Alison did mention that Dane Van Niekerk will not be part of the World Cup squad, but she has come out of retirement, and her presence at the pre-tournament training camp, was that important, significant? Did she share a lot?
The first time I sort of played with Dane, she retired just before I got into the space. But yeah, I've always looked up to her as a young kid as well. She's obviously was the captain of the national side. So yeah, she's only been kind to me. I've sort of spoken to her a bit when she was on commentary and stuff. So yeah, she's been very kind, and sort of to have her back in the space has been really cool.
South Africa winning the World Test Championships, that's got to be inspiring.
That was incredible. I think we were in West Indies at the time, and we got up at I think we had a game, and we got up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and everyone sort of almost missed the bus to the game just to watch that final moments. A couple of us were in tears, and yeah, obviously goosebump stuff. I think to see the effect it has had on our country is amazing. I think young kids is obviously looking up to the Springboks for very long, and now they're sort of looking up to the Proteas also. I think we'll sort of see the ripple effect of that when in our cricket coming through. And yeah, I think our men is doing really well at the moment as well in England and recently in Australia. So yeah, I think South African cricket is in a good spot.
Yeah, and you have the power to inspire as well. Now, when you go to India and Sri Lanka, your opening game is against England. How much are you talking about that as a game to target?
I don't know what the right answer is, but not much. Yeah, I think we've just been focusing on ourselves at the moment. I haven't really been looking too much towards opposition. I think we still got a series against Pakistan, so that will be like good preparation for us. I think sort of similar conditions to what we might face in India with the heat. But yeah, for the moment, we're just focusing on ourselves, getting some real good game plans in place. And then I think as we get to closer to game time, we'll sort of start narrowing in on opposition and maybe some plans for some specific players and stuff like that. But yeah, for the moment, just focusing on ourselves and how we can be the best, I guess.
Now, significantly, the winners of this World Cup will take home more prize money than the Australian men got for winning the last World Cup in 2023. In fact, the whole prize pot has risen almost fourfold from the last ODI World Cup in New Zealand back in 2022. Did you know that was coming? And just how significant is this for women's cricket?
I didn't know it was coming. I didn't even see the announcement. I was just on the bus and someone mentioned it and I was like, what? Yeah, that's crazy. It actually blew my mind a little bit. But I mean, I guess it's good for women's cricket. Shows that we're moving in the right direction. Yeah, and credit to the ICC and all the investors for doing that. But yeah, I don't know. We obviously don't play the game for the money, or me personally, I don't. But yeah, it's, I think, a nice reward and yeah, definitely can help like smaller unions and affiliates grow their game. So yeah, hopefully it goes to the right places and yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess.
Well, I'm sure you'll be hoping as a team you can put your hands on a significant chunk of that prize money. Good luck, Annerie, for the upcoming tournament. Congratulations for making that squad.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped on Akashvani. Don't forget you can follow us on X. We're at BBCWS Sport and use the hashtag BBC Stumped. And check us out on YouTube as well. Go to BBC World Service on YouTube. My thanks to Charu Sharma, Jim Maxwell, and to all of you for listening. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Stumped is a BBC Sport production for the BBC World Service in association with ABC and Akashvani.